Hey guys, what's up? This is Brian with Bear Cards 34. Today I had a small little mail day for a couple basketball cards that I picked up very cheap. And I thought that might be a good time to make a video of my one passion in the football card hobby that's not related to football cards, and that is the Utah Jazz. So being from Utah, that's our big pro sports team. We have Real Salt Lake for soccer. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but I'm definitely glad to have them here. But for the most part, it's all Jazz. And so growing up from a very young age, I've always been a fan of the Utah Jazz. They've broken my heart many times, many times, especially against the Chicago Bulls right here, Michael Jordan. A lot of you may have watched The Last Dance. That definitely put some salt in the old wound, but it was still kind of nice to go back and kind of revisit that time period. You know, the Jazz were so great for so many years with Stockton and Malone, and whether you loved them or hated them, you can't argue with the durability, the success that they had year after year. We were very spoiled here in Utah to have those two. Stockton came in somewhere around 1984. Malone, I think, was 85. And we kept them, into the turn of the century. So very lucky to have those guys. I became a Jazz fan early on when I thought, as a little kid, that my mailman was on the Utah Jazz. So I didn't realize that the mailman, Karl Malone, was just a nickname, and actually took that literal to think that my mailman was on a pro basketball team. Came out, not too long after that I realized that I had been wrong, but stuck with the Jazz nonetheless. So anyway, just going to go ahead and open this just to kind of show you what I got today. And like I said, it's really nothing at all. Just picked up a couple little cards. So although I am a Jazz card collector, I don't necessarily have a super impressive collection. It's kind of out of my budget. I don't have the Stockton and Malone autographed cards as of now. I could probably get them, and I assume I will at some point, but don't have them yet. I'd also love to get the John Stockton rookie card from the card company Star. That one, I'd like to try to find a graded one of those at some point. So anyway, let's go ahead and get these out for today. All right, so this is where I ordered it from, if you would like to check that out. Okay, so for today, this is what I picked up. This is a Rudy Gobert, number 269, 221 of 269. And then the next card here is a George Hill, same brand, number 269. He was on the Jazz just for a year. I mean, he was kind of in and out, but did very well on the team as he was here. And then I also picked up just this. This is a Mike Conley from Optic from this year. He's new to the Jazz, and I don't have any of his cards, so thought I would pick that up. So that's all I got for today. Like I said, nothing major, but still nice to add those to my collection. And so I think I'll just round things out here by showing a few of my favorite cards. So this first one here. So before the Jazz came to Utah, we had another team in the ABA, and that was the Utah Stars. And the Utah Stars were around from 1970 to 1976. Before my time, I wasn't on this earth when they played, but they were successful. The Utah Jazz have never won a title. We went there back-to-back years in the 90s and lost, but we have never won a championship. The Utah Stars did, and the Utah Stars right here, this is one card that I have Ron Boone for the Utah Stars. He's still in the community and very well known. He's a commentator on a lot of the Jazz games and has been as long as I can remember. He's kind of doing some other jobs now. Matt Harpring has kind of taken over the role he used to take, but Ron Boone with Hot Rod Hundley were a staple here in Utah for Jazz games for all of my childhood and into my adulthood as well. So Ron Boone, this I believe is his rookie card for the Utah Stars. This is the 1970-71 card. And then I've got right here, this is another one of the more popular Utah Star players, Zelmo Beatty. He did quite well for the Utah here. And then this right here is Pete Maravich, Pistol Pete. A lot of you will know him. He's pretty much a legend. So he was excellent on the New Orleans Jazz. So the New Orleans Jazz started up in the, I think it was the mid 70s. They were only they were only a team there in New Orleans for a few years, and then they moved to Utah in 1979. So from 79 on, the Jazz have been here in Utah. Pistol Pete did play for the Utah Jazz for a very brief time. His jersey is up in the rafters to recognize his career that he had in New Orleans. But from what my understanding is, I think with the Utah Jazz, he only played a handful of games for one season, and that was kind of it. But I am glad he was able to come out here to Utah and play on the Utah Jazz for a little bit, since he's such a big part of the Jazz team. Next up is kind of our first Utah Jazz All-Star, and that would be Adrian Dantley. Great player, amazing statistics. He recently had his jersey up in the rafter, I believe, as well. So Adrian Dantley, fantastic player, did great for us. He was kind of the guy before Stockton and Malone for us here. And then we started getting into, getting some new picks. We had this was our coach for the Jazz, Frank Layden. Real character, funny guy. He's still here in the community. He's been very engaged. He retired, and then Jerry Sloan took over. So a couple great coaches there. I really like Coach Snyder, Quinn Snyder, who's leading the team right now. So this is Frank, and they put together quite a good team. So this right here, Thurl Bailey, rookie card for Star. Big T, Thurl Bailey came in and did quite a great job. He's still here in the community, does a lot of TV work for the Utah Jazz. And right here, here's Mark Eaton, also his rookie card for Star. Tall player. How tall is he? Mark Eaton, 13 feet. He's 13 feet. No, he's like 7'3". Super tall guy. Okay, then we had Darrell Griffith, Golden Griff. The Jazz drafted him, if I remember right, I think he was drafted, when was he drafted? 81. And he was Rookie of the Year that year. He was off to a great career, doing very well, won a slam dunk contest. My understanding, if I remember right, I think he kind of hurt his knee and never fully recovered from that, but he was great for a few years and kind of a good mentor to Carl and John Stockton as well. So he's also got his number up in the rafters, I believe. Then here's Karl Malone rookie card. I'd love to get a graded Karl Malone rookie card. This one's way off center, so I would not even think of sending that in. But nonetheless, it's nice to have Malone rookie. And here's the Stockton kind of official rookie with Fleer. But he does have, I mentioned the Star cards. This is an example of Star. There is a John Stockton card from another year of his rookie that I would love to get someday, kind of out of my price range. I also included this card to show just because, I'm sure a lot of you are aware of Steph Curry, that Steph Curry's dad played in the NBA, but Del Curry did play on the Jazz for a very brief time. But it was fun to watch him. He'd come in and light up some threes here and there. So there's Del Curry. And then I mentioned Coach Sloan. He just passed away not long ago. Very loved here in Utah. So he played his career with the Bulls and then coached for the Jazz. Great coach. All right, here we have Gordon Hayward, rookie. For some people, this guy is, he who must not be named. He was that for me for a little while. I've definitely gotten over it since then. But, this is Gordon's rookie card. Now he's off to Boston, where he'll hopefully be able to watch the Jazz win a title one of these years. And Donovan Mitchell, he's kind of our guy. He came in right after Hayward left. With Gordon Hayward, a lot of the Jazz fans, we had watched him grow for many years, just get a little bigger, a little stronger, a little more talented year after year, and rooted him along the way and watched him grow. And then he made it to the All-Stars, and the team was looking good, and then he left. And it really broke our hearts. You got to do what you got to do, and I respect that for him. But left a lot of Jazz fans hurting. And so when we drafted Donovan, well, I guess it was Denver that drafted him, but through a trade. So we got Donovan, and he came in and just lit a fire right away. Awesome, talented player. This card is number 299. And I don't have a lot of Donovan Mitchell cards. They're just worth so much. A lot of them are really expensive. I have a handful. Someday I'll probably start up a PC of his, but haven't done so yet. Anyway, those are some of the cards I wanted to kind of show you today. And then I'll show you my graded cards real quick. These are for the Utah Stars. So I have a Willie Wise 1972 Topps, graded 8. I have a Willie Wise 1974 Topps, graded 7. And then I have a Ron Boone 1975 Topps. I got a grade of an 8. Jim Eakins 75 Topps, also an 8. Randy Denton 75, also an 8. Aaron James, now this is the New Orleans Jazz. That one's 75, also an 8. And then this is my most valuable graded card of my basketball cards. This is Moses Malone, rookie card. Just kind of show you up there. 1975 Topps, graded 8. He started his career on the Utah Stars. A lot of you may know, he's a NBA Hall of Famer. Went on to a great career. Won championships, multiple All-Stars. So he left school right after high school, is my understanding, and the Jazz drafted him, the Stars drafted him, and he came out and played it on Utah for just a little bit. I think it was just a year or two, and then he was off to other things. But yeah, I was able to pick that up a couple of years back. Definitely love that card. Yeah. And then my only kind of modern, and this isn't really modern either, but 1998 Karl Malone Finest Gem Mint 10. That's basically, that's kind of my only of the newer graded cards. And I'll wrap things up here with this, just a little handful of my autographs. So Mark Eaton. And this guy, Jeff Malone, came in and played with John and Carl for a few years, and he averaged around like 18 to 20 points a game, and he was a great player for us. It was sad to see him go, but we ended up picking up this guy in return, and Jeff Hornacek, and that actually ended up being a really good trade for the Jazz. Getting him onto the team really seemed to propel the Jazz to that next level, where they were able to make a couple appearances in the finals. Here's an autograph of Daryl Golden Griffith. And right here, he only played for the Jazz for a little bit, but I always really liked him, and he had quite a good career. Tom Chambers, just kind of came out to the Jazz near the end of his career. He was definitely a good addition to the team. He definitely helped out, but it was definitely after his prime years. And then these guys, I always kind of put them together when I think of the team. D. Will and Carlos Boozer, Darren Williams, and Carlos did very well. We got to a Western Conference Championship appearance with the two of them leading the way. So they were great players, here for a little bit and then gone, but definitely made their mark. They played alongside this guy right here, Andrei Kirilenko. It's kind of hard to, pick that up. I wonder, let's see. I don't know. That's a little hopeful. Anyway, it's one of the clear commemoratives, but nonetheless a pretty cool autograph there for Andre. Right here, there's my Thurl Bailey autograph, and I include him, just to let I even collect some of the Jazz players that are busts, and Luther Big Woo Wright, certainly classified as a bust. He came in I mean, I think he made it onto the court. You could probably count the minutes he played in the NBA on one hand. I mean, my understanding though is, he had some mental health issues, and some other stuff going on. Unfortunately, seemed like a super nice guy, but just couldn't really make it onto the court, couldn't really stay consistent or healthy, and so unfortunately he didn't really do much. But I still like to collect cards of Jazz players, whether they play 5 minutes or 20 years, like Stockton Malone. So that's Luther Wright. Here's another guy, Dante Exum. So the Jazz traded him early in the season. This is a guy who, great guy. Like, I think everybody in the Jazz community really, really rooted for him and likes him. Really nice guy from Australia. Lots and lots of talent. Used an early draft pick to get him. A lot of potential. And, maybe he still will if he can stay healthy. But that was the thing. He just could not stay on the court. Always injured. One thing after another. Flashes of real talent. Very athletic. So I wish him the best, and I hope he, does well. But unfortunately, it didn't really work out for the Jazz in the long run. And this guy right here, Jay Crowder, he also was traded. But, he was a real fan favorite, a lot of energy. His dad played for the Jazz when I was a little kid, Corey Crowder. Didn't play very much. Jay's much more successful in the NBA than his dad ever was. But this guy was awesome on the team. I'd love to have him back. And then this is Brian Russell. I just picked this up recently. And this now a couple of the current players. Tony Bradley, backup for the Jazz right now. And the starter right here, here's Rudy Gobert, totally certified from 2015-16. Love watching Rudy play. He's the man. And then this here, Joe Ingles is Immaculate Ink 11 of 25 on-card auto. He's quite the character as well. And then I've got this is National Treasure, Gordon Hayward, number 275. Again, on-card auto, which is always nice. And then the last one here, this is number 299, Immaculate Collection, Adrian Dantley. All right. So anyway, this is just kind of a handful of what I've got. So my Utah Jazz collection is nowhere near as extensive as my football card collection. But, when people ask what I collect, I definitely would say that Utah Jazz cards are a real interest to me in the sports card hobby. And so, yeah, I typically nowadays I'll just buy singles and individual cards. Back in the 90s, I did buy boxes. So, I have some cards like Shaquille O'Neal rookie and a few of those, but, they're really not worth a lot of money. And in fact, a lot of my Jazz cards, are not worth a lot of money, at all. But sentimentally, they're worth something to me. And then, yeah, a handful of them are, do have some value as well. So it's fun to collect, fun to kind of look back at things. It's almost like a trip down memory lane from time to time. Anyway, I'd be curious if any of you out there who watch this video focus on a certain sport, but then have a specific thing outside of your norm that you collect, kind of like I do with the Jazz. Anyway, that's my video. Go Jazz, and I'll talk to you guys again next time. Thanks for watching.